In the shadows of the world of darkness, a clan moves unseen, their faces remembered yet forgotten, their presence felt but never confirmed. They are called by many names, but most know them only as the Ashuri, the soulless. Clan Ashuri are not simply kindred, they are aberrations, born not only from the curse of Cain, but from something darker still. Unlike other vampires, they have no souls, no conscience, no lingering voice of humanity. To be Ashuri is to embody the beast fully, without restraint or remorse. Where other kindreds struggle against their nature, the Ashuri are their nature, apex predators free from guilt, salvation or redemption. The Ashuri draw inspiration from depictions of soulless vampires across pop culture. The mindless cruelty of Buffyverse vampires, the relentless hunters of John Carpenter's vampires, and countless tales of demons wearing human flesh. These images blended together to form the foundation of the soulless clan, a way to bring this vision into the world of darkness. The purpose behind Clan Ashuri was simple: to bring the idea of soulless vampires into Vampire, the Masquerade. In the world of darkness, morality and humanity define kindred existence. But what if that tether was cut entirely? The Ashuri answer that question, a clan designed for storytellers and players who want to explore the terrifying concept of predators without conscience. Their origin begins with Ashur-Kai, a high priest of Assyria, whose hunger for power exceeded even his sire's blood. Embraced by Irad of the second generation, Ashur-Kai grew dissatisfied with immortality, bound by a soul. In the hollow beneath his temple, he summoned Malika. There, Ashur-Kai made his pact. He severed his own soul, casting it into the void. His blood was forever changed. From that moment, the Ashuri were born, a lineage unchained, soulless predators in flesh. The Ashuri wield a unique discipline, Eidolon, the power of absence. With it they blur from perception, whisper across rooms as unseen voices, manifest a demonic visage when desired, and even slip into the abyss itself. Combined with potence and celerity, the Ashuri are both unstoppable and untraceable, swift, strong, and utterly terrifying. But a predator without conscience must be governed somehow. Without humanity, the Ashuri follow paths of enlightenment. The malignant grace sees cruelty as art. The predator follows primal dominance, and the Crimson Chalice worships their demonic origin, awaiting the return of the Old Ones. Their strengths come with terrible costs. The Ashuri cannot enter homes uninvited. They cast no reflection. They are scorched by holy symbols, regardless of faith, and to those who see their aura, only emptiness stares back. Clan Ashuri are more than myth. They are the embodiment of what Kindred might have become without their fragile souls. Apex predators, monsters perfected, the Soulless Ones. As the Ashuri would say, we are what you should have been. We shall now take a look at some examples of Ashuri vampires, both in ancient lore and modern knights' depictions. Depictions of the Ashuri and their paths of enlightenment may be unsettling to some viewers. If you do not feel comfortable with this, please end your viewing here. For those who are used to the world of darkness, its themes, and the personal horror element, we shall now begin. Before Rome, before Carthage, before Athens, there was Delphi, a city of prophecy, where the voices of gods shaped the fates of kings and empires, and within it lived a woman whose voice would echo into eternity. Her name was Adeline, the first child of Ashur-Kai, the oracle without breath. Adeline of Delphi was born into the Pythian line, her family guardians of the sacred rites of Apollo. From childhood, she was trained in silence, observation, and ritual. By 7, she was already called a prophet, her voice calm and deliberate. But she did not speak for Apollo, she spoke for herself. Unlike other oracles lost in divine frenzy, Adeline was cold, calculating. Her beauty inspired awe, but her presence unsettled all who met her. Every word, every gesture was deliberate. She was not a servant of the gods, she was their rival. By 16, Adeline was the true power behind Delphi's oracle. She directed generals to ruin, turned kings into butchers of their own kin, and shattered city-states through carefully sculpted lies. To mortals, she was divine inspiration. In truth, she was perfection in manipulation. But such power drew older eyes. In 1218 BCE, Adeline vanished from Delphi. Some claimed she descended into the sacred pit. Others whispered she was entombed for blasphemy. The truth was crueler. Ashur-Kai had come. Disguised as a mortal priest, the soulless father saw in Adeline a mirror of himself, cold, beautiful, merciless. To test her worth, he arranged her death. She was accused of heresy, stripped of rights, and buried alive beneath stone. For 3 nights she lay in silence. She did not scream, she did not cry, she waited. On the 3rd night, the stone split. Ashur-Kai entered. He offered no words. He tore open her throat and let her life bleed onto the altar of her prison. When he offered his blood, black as oil, Adeline drank without question. Her last mortal act was not a cry, but a whisper. Thus she became the first child of Ashur-Kai, the first soulless other than himself, an oracle whose prophecies were now eternal, but spoken without breath, without conscience, without soul. Adeline's legacy is woven into the very fabric of the Ashuri. She was proof that the pact of Ashur-Kai was more than personal damnation. It was inheritance. Through her, the soulless spread across empires. Her beauty masked terror, her voice bent nations, and her presence became myth. Among kindred, she is remembered not with reverence, but with caution. For Adeline of Delphi was more than an oracle. She was the first soulless flame of the Ashuri, and she has never truly gone silent. She is called the Oracle Without Breath, the first child, the voice beneath stone. She is Adeline of Delphi, the soulless oracle of the Ashuri. The future is not seen, it is shaped. Some predators are remembered by the cities they burn, others by the thrones they seize. But Nihilena of Ur is remembered only in silence, in fear, and in the shadow of jackals. She is the black jackal of Ishtar, the huntress who became the soulless oracle of predation. Born in 320 BCE beneath the scent of cedar and sacrifice, Nihilena was raised in the temple city of Uruk, declared a child of omens, her mother torn apart by serpents, her father vanished into the mountains. She belonged to no one but the goddess Ishtar. Priestesses raised her as oracle and huntress alike. By 17, she was both lion slayer and prophetess, feared and adored in equal measure. The priesthood feared her, In secret, they entombed her beneath the temple, condemned to be forgotten. But something else remembered her name. Ashur-Kai, the soulless father, came in silence. He drained her breath, then gave her black blood, thick as oil, void of soul. She awoke not with screams, but with stillness, her eyes blacker than death. Thus, Nihilena was unmade and reborn. Her first night as soulless was not spent in frenzy. She walked into the desert, barefoot and wordless. A caravan welcomed her, mistaking her for prophetess. By dawn, none remained whole. She fed slowly, testing flesh and silence as though dissecting fear itself. It is said their bones still lie exposed, the desert refusing to bury the place where her soul was extinguished. She rejected the path of malignant grace, calling it artifice. Cruelty was not performance. Pain was not art. She did not dance, she hunted. From the wastes of Persia to the Black Sea, Nihilena taught survival as scripture, fear as language. These lessons became the path of the predator, not written in words, but carved into flesh and memory. By the turn of the era, Nihilena was known as the Black Jackal of Ishtar. She conquered no cities, but unmade them. She placed blood-bound agents at the heart of provinces, shaped power without thrones, and walked unseen across battlefields. Even the Bruja of Alexandria claimed a philosophy not their own, but hers, the calculus of predators without ideology. In 130 BCE, she confronted Adeline of Delphi beneath the ruins of Sardis. For 3 nights they spoke no word. When Adeline departed, her gaze was changed, her followers gone. The Ashuri divide was eternal, artifice against predation. Nihilena did not seek unity, she sought refinement. Her presence alone could silence gatherings, her word could turn fury inward. She was the predator perfected. Through centuries, Nihilena culled kindred strongholds that grew arrogant. She opened the gates of Dara from within, left bishops crucified, and unmade armies without lifting a blade. In Jerusalem, she erased Tremere elders beneath the Temple Mount. In Haiti, she walked among rebels, teaching silence and fear to Kindred, who severed every chain of dominion. In 1939, she vanished. Some said she fell into torpor beneath the Black Sea. Others claimed she stepped into silence itself. But predators do not end. In the year 2000, whispers of jackals returned. A ghoul slit his master's throat. Assamites broke blood pacts. And in Bucharest, symbols carved into bone marked her passage. Nihilena of Ur walks again, her youth unchanged, her presence sharper than ever. Nihilena of Ur is not a ruler nor a saviour. She does not build thrones. She sharpens the knives that topple them. She is the silence that devours empires. The black jackal of Ishtar, the predator eternal. Walk with your spine unbroken or perish on your knees. In the city of Ur, where gods walked in fire and kings carved their names in clay, there was born a child who did not cry, who did not smile, who watched in silence. That child would become Alistair, the Tormented, High Priest of the Crimson Chalice, Harbinger of the Old Ones. Born around 2000 BCE to the priestly caste of Ur, Alistair was son of Enkar, High Priest of Enlil, and Shamat, devotee of Ishtar. Raised as both priest and warrior, he excelled in omens and bloodshed alike. By 12, he slit a sacrificial ox's throat without flinching. By adolescence, he commanded warriors, priests, and fear itself. Yet he despised mortality, the fragility of flesh, the brevity of life. He craved more than faith. He craved ascension. In 1985 BCE, beneath the stars of a strange alignment, Ashur-Kai came. He drained Alistair's blood, then gave his own cursed vitae. The boy felt his soul torn away, cast into the void. When he awoke, the fires burned brighter. The heartbeats of mortals thundered in his ears, but within him there was nothing. Ashur-Kai placed a blade in his hand. Without hesitation, Alistair slaughtered his kin in silence. At dawn, his mortal life was ash. Only Alistair remained. Ashur-Kai taught him silence, absence, and the arts of Eidolon. Yet Alistair would break from his sire's path of malignant grace. He declared cruelty and artifice. True ascension lay in ritual and divine hunger. From this belief, he birthed the path of the Crimson Chalice, renunciation of humanity, worship of the Old Ones, and preparation for their return. His followers became the Order of the Crimson Chalice, a sect of soulless vampires bound by blood, ritual, and prophecy. They whispered of Malika, of the Old Ones beyond the veil, and of the hellmouth that would one day open. Alistair was their high priest, not ruler but vessel, voice of forgotten gods. Through sacrifice, diablerie, and ancient rites, he built an empire unseen, an empire of silence. In Roman Gaul, Alistair found Jezebel Blackthorn, the Crimson Wolf. Ruthless, merciless, she mirrored his own mortal hunger. He embraced her, not as daughter but as weapon. She became his crimson hand, the enforcer of his doctrine, the harbinger of his will. Together they guided the Order across centuries, shaping empires only to let them burn. By the dawn of the modern era, the Order thrived beneath the Cleveland hellmouth. Jezebel ruled in his name, and then without warning, Alistair vanished. His chambers were undisturbed, his dagger untouched, the air still heavy with blood and incense. Some whisper he stepped into the hellmouth, others claim Ashur-Kai recalled him, or that he perfected Eidolon, vanishing even from history itself. To the Ashuri, Alistair is more than sire, more than priest. He is prophecy in flesh, the first to abandon false morality for divine hunger, the architect of the Crimson Chalice, the harbinger of the Old Ones. His name is no longer spoken openly. His silence is the silence before the storm, and when he returns, it will not be as the world remembers. He is Alistair the Tormented, High Priest of the Crimson Chalice, harbinger of the Old Ones. This is how gods are made. The Ashuri are soulless predators, sculpted by the pact of Ashur-Kai and the demon Maloka. They are architects of silence, hunters perfected, monsters without conscience. But not all obey the designs of their father. Some fracture, some falter, some walk alone. These are the Ashuri Antitribu, the broken soulless. Where most Ashuri rely upon paths of enlightenment to control the beast, the Antitribu reject them. Many abandon malignant grace, predator's law, or the Crimson Chalice entirely. Some invent self-made codes. Others cling to instinct or fragments of their mortal lives. They fracture the unity of the soulless, and for this they are branded failures. Unlike their kin, who remain aloof and detached, the broken soulless often hide among kindred society. They join the Sabbat, the Camarilla, even the Anarchs. They mimic humanity with uncanny precision, feigned compassion, fabricated anger, artificial joy, yet none of it is real. Beneath the mask there is only silence. But mimicry cannot mask the curse. Like their kin, the Antitribu cast no reflection, cannot enter homes uninvited, and recoil from holy symbols regardless of faith. Auspex reveals them for what they are: void, absence, a hollow where a soul should be. In every way, they remain soulless. Among themselves, the broken soulless are fragmented. They do not build unity. They cannot trust in bonds. Some wander as solitary pretenders, others survive by hiding within sects they will never truly belong to. They endure not through power or grace, but through adaptation. They are survivors, unwilling to be bound by Ashur-Kai's design, yet unable to escape his curse. To their clan, they are failures. To the Camarilla, Sabbat, and Anarchs, they are enigmas. To themselves, they are survivors. The Antitribu are the silence that pretends to speak, the hollow that wears a mask. They are the broken soulless. The history of Clan Ashuri begins not with Cain, but with a pact. Ashur-Kai, high priest of Assyria, sought more than immortality. In the hollow beneath his temple, he bound himself to Malika, the demon who would birth the soulless vampires. In that pact, Ashur-Kai severed his soul, unmaking what it meant to be kindred. Thus was born Clan Ashuri, the soulless. In Mesopotamia, Ashur-Kai spread his blood carefully, crafting children to reflect aspects of the soulless ideal. Among them was Adeline of Delphi, the oracle without breath, whose manipulations shaped Greece through prophecy, and Nihilena of Ur, the black jackal of Ishtar, whose predation carved the path of the predator. From the Fertile Crescent to the Aegean, the Ashuri wove themselves into empire and myth. With Rome's rise came Alistair the Tormented. From his vision, the path of the Crimson Chalice was born. Where Adeline saw cruelty as art, and Nihilena saw predation as law, Alistair preached worship of the Old Ones. His followers became the Order of the Crimson Chalice, a sect of ritual, prophecy, and hunger. Across the empire, the soulless played senators against emperors, cults against cults, all in preparation for a return that never came. In the Byzantine Nights, the Ashuri cloaked themselves in faith. Adeline bent bishops to her will, placing soulless prophets in the highest ranks of the Eastern Church. When the Crusades came, the Ashuri played both sides, orchestrating betrayals, feeding on pilgrims, and erasing rivals beneath Jerusalem's stones. Even Tremere and Assamite records speak of enemies who vanished, erased by hunters without souls. During the Renaissance, Ashuri cruelty became theatre. They inspired artists to paint horrors, philosophers to dissect morality, nobles to play games of ruin. The Enlightenment brought dissection and science, perfect masks for the soulless, who wore the guise of reason while indulging the void within. Behind every salon and mask, a soulless whispered. When Europe crossed the seas, so too did the soulless. In the New World, they found fertile ground. Jezebel Blackthorn carried the Crimson Chalice to the Americas, entwining with cults and settlers alike. In Haiti, Nihilena's lessons of rebellion stirred Kindred, who severed chains of dominion. In the colonies, soulless walked as lords and hunters, spreading silence to new continents. The world wars shattered Kindred society, but for the Ashuri, war was nourishment. They stalked trenches, fed on fear, and bent generals with whispers, yet the chaos fractured them. Nihilena vanished in 1939. Alistair disappeared from Cleveland. Even Adeline withdrew into deeper silence. For a time, it seemed the soulless had stepped back from the world. But predators do not end. In the year 2000, whispers of jackals returned in Bucharest. The Order of the Crimson Chalice stirred beneath Cleveland. Ashuri Antitribu walked openly within Camarilla courts, and Adeline's gaze was felt once more, though none could say from where. The soulless adapt, they endure. Their history is not written in chronicles of power, but in the silence that shapes empires. The Ashuri have no soul, but they have history. From ziggurats to neon skylines, from prophecy to predation, they remain eternal. They are silence in flesh, they are the soulless. A beast you are, lest a beast you become. We are what you should have been, Kindred. You play at being human. We do not.